mentioned that at the starting of your high school. Sorry, I really have to ask. At the start of your high school, you were getting a lot of gains, and then the law of diminishing returns. Would
Yeah,
that
the better you get,
yeah
the less your improvements are. So
yeah
you could train for a year only to improve your time, to drop your time by a tenth of a second, but that would be a success. I mean, like
yeah.
everybody, of course, you always want to go faster than you went, but even if you got a one tenth of a second faster, then you technically did your best, and that
So, what are
that's the
your
reason.
thoughts on that, if you don't mind me asking, about the law of diminishing returns? Like, do you even consider that when you're personal training or when you're doing some, I don't know if you have a lot of rehab work, but or in even like an athletic team environment?
I think you have to manage your expectations, right? So in swimming, like I always thought, well, okay, I got my best time, and then like at the end of the season when I was rested for the final meet, and I thought, okay, next year I'm going to come back exactly that fast, and I'm just going to pick right back up where I left off. But inevitably, you take the summer off, or you take it easier, and you're set back a little bit when
Mhm.
you start the next season, and it sometimes would take until the end of the year just to get back to a little bit faster than where you were the previous year. And so
Yeah.
it can be frustrating if you're not, if you're not aware that that's going to be the reality of it, is that you're going to put in a year of training 8 times a week to drop this much time. But so with that in mind, you really have to love the process.
Yeah.
You can't just be in it for the glory of the records or the gold medal or whatever, but like you have to enjoy the day-to-day aspect of the training. Otherwise it's miserable. But in terms of like applying that to a strength training lens or a rehabilitation lens, I guess the same is true, that you have to enjoy the process. But also, like, let's say you're getting really strong, and maybe you have a bench press that's 190 pounds, which happens to be like roughly what
Mm.
my one rep max would be. So I have to realize that I could train really really hard and add maybe 5 pounds to that, which it depends. If it's worth it to me to do that, then okay, I can do that. And then if I accomplish that, I can be happy with it. Or I could focus my efforts on something else that maybe I'm not as far along with, that I'm going to make more large gains on it because I'm
Yeah.
more relatively beginner, or it's a new exercise to me or a new modality. So it's like one, and I'm not super strong, but if you're,
Mhm.
let's say you're like a 400 pound 200 kilo squatter, you could, and let's say you're an athlete, the the amount of training that you would have to do to get to 205 kilos might not be worth the training at the high
Yeah.
intensity. Like maybe you want to focus on your power instead of
For
your
sure.
strength, because
Yeah.
you're going to be able to make more gains on that. That's going to carry over to your sport more than adding 5 pounds to your already,
Yeah.
or 2 kilos to your already really strong squat.
Yeah, I love that. I love what you just explained. I mean, it'd be so amazing to just keep on like talking about it, but I know you have like a lot of work to do as well. Sorry, I still have to ask, like, mm, you mentioned that in a year's time as an athlete, you kind of low when you get off season, it goes lower. It kind of brings into the equation what a periodization might introduce to this topic, right? Because you're gonna build up your air max to the 1 year, and then it kind of slows down in off season, then you build it back up. So that was great what you just explained. So I'm just so happy you were able to give the viewers that information. Amazing.
Yeah, like so as frustrating as that is, that process of, oh, I feel like I'm starting back at square one, after like in swimming, we say for every day that you're out of the pool, it takes you 3 days to get back to where you were.
Hmm.
And that's anecdotal. I don't know if there's science to back that up, but I can certainly say that that's what it felt like to me. So if you take a month off, then it's like it takes you 3 months to get back to where you were. And but the thing is, like, you can't just train 100% effort 52 weeks out of the year.
Yeah.
Your body will break down, so you need that time off. But it's like it's this give and take where I
Mhm.
want to keep working, I want to keep working hard, but I both need a mental and physical break from the like the
Yeah.
constant, because every day that you're training is a hard training session. At least that's how it was when I was training. And maybe that was right, maybe that was wrong. Like there are other philosophies where you're doing more of like they call it a high-low approach, where
Yeah.
you're taking like a hard day and then an easy day, and that maybe that would have been more beneficial for me as like somebody who needed more recovery. But in the
Mhm.
context of a team sport where everybody is sort of training the same way, it's hard to fine tune it to that degree for each athlete.
All right. Thanks for explaining a lot of those things again, Travis. Now, for those of you viewing, Travis is actually a co-author for two books, one about hockey and one we are briefly discussing today. Please correct me if you have other books, Travis. But
No,
all right.
thank God it's only the two. Books take a long time to write.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Actually, they take a long time to write, but they even take a longer time to get the word out. So
Yeah.
just two
I
for
know.
now.
So I'm honored to present the book, which has been my guide for the past year in accomplishing two things I've never done in my life: pull ups and handstands. So, with this book that Travis and Jenny Rawlings introduced to me, I was able to actually achieve pull ups, overhand and underhand. And then next, I went to the next challenge was handstands, which is still a work in progress, but now I'm able to do eccentric handstand push-ups. So really cool
Oh
stuff.
shoot, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah,
I
really.
haven't seen those yet. So
Yeah, I haven't posted them yet.
I've seen the video of the holds against the wall, which look really awesome. I also hadn't realized that you had gotten your first pull up with the thing too. So that's really
Yeah,
awesome.
it's true. As a actually pull-ups, I've been since talking to you from last year. I was like, maybe I really need to get these pull-ups, and pandemic stuff and quarantine, and I was able to get it. But yeah, let's show some of the viewers. So the thing I love about this book is that it's so user friendly. Are you able to see it now? The
Yep.
Yogi's Guide to Achieving Your First Pull-up, Push-up, and Handstand. So, like I said, from my experience, this worked well for me, and the ebook is so easy to use because I've also experienced some ebooks wherein, when you have to look at a video, you have to go elsewhere. But this one is so carefully and thoughtfully laid out that, look, for example, if you want to turn on the video, you can just press this and then you go to the site. So
Yeah, we wanted to make it really easy to interface between the book and the videos. And we had some feedback. Well, can I, why didn't you make it a physical book that we can print out? And it's like, well, it's important that you watch the videos, so that's why it's an ebook.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, we really wanted to make the user experience of, okay, let's see what the exercises are in the ebook, what some of the tips are, and then let's watch the video and see it in action.
yeah. So let's show one of these videos, which is the hollow body hold for the pull up progression. Is that okay?
Yeah. So
All right.
this one is it's
Sorry.
a challenging exercise, but it's more challenging for the core than it is necessarily for the pull up muscles. But the idea is that the hollow body is the position that you're kind of maintaining as you're doing the pull up, and so
Mhm.
we're we're mimicking the movement of the arms while engaging the abdominal muscles in a way that's going to carry over to then going and doing stuff on the pull up bar.
When you start, this movement is so vital before you pull yourself up, right?
Yeah. So if you don't have a strong core, midsection, torso, it's going to make it much more difficult to move your body in like a nice trajectory on the pull-up bar. So building that up first, and then transitioning to the exercises where you're doing hanging from the bar is a nice progression.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks for that. So, just for the other our viewers as well, can you just give us a brief description of the difference between the Strength for Yoga book?
Yeah, yeah. So the one that you just showed is kind of it's it's a progression on three different exercises, and we give a lot of tips in the videos just as text overlays on those exercises. But it's a little bit up to the user to figure out how to plan. Okay, I'm going to do these exercises in this combination at this time. And so, of course, for you, you have a lot of background knowledge. You have expertise in the area to understand where everything fits in. Um, but it's limited if you don't have that prior understanding. So it can be a nice start to developing those three moves. But if you want a more comprehensive guide beyond just those three exercises and with more information about how to put everything together into like a well-rounded full body training program, we have another book so the book that we've been discussing is just freely available on our website if you give your email address. We have another book that's for sale that goes way more in depth into kind of all aspects of upper body exercises, lower body exercises, core exercises. It's designed with a yoga student or practitioner or teacher in mind, because the idea of the exercises is that they support foundational yoga poses so that you can get stronger in your yoga poses. With that said, like if you're not somebody who does yoga and you were just interested in developing full body strength, like the program would work for you too. Most specific for yogis, but it's just a good full body training program. So it's 8 weeks of training. And then the videos, like the video that you showed just had some text instructions. The videos in the paid book have me talking Jenny through them. So they're really more comprehensive tutorials. Each one's like a minute to a minute and a half long. So it just it's kind of like our complete system that you can take and just do for 8 weeks and get really strong in ways that's going to carry over to body weight yoga poses, but also kind of give you the things that a yoga practice or a mat, like a body weight mat based practice, isn't going to give you, like the pull-up stuff, because there are no pull-ups in a traditional, that's not like a pose in yoga, right? But because it's not a pose in yoga, it's an important movement that you can do to supplement or balance out the practice that you're doing on the mat. So that was kind of the intention of the book. And it takes a lot of what's in the free book and then just brings it all together. So I've been a yoga student for many years. I started doing it actually when I started swimming as a way to help with my recovery. But my friend and co-author Jenny is a very experienced and longtime yoga teacher. And so the relationship with her taught me a lot about yoga and also just movement in general. And I think she would say the same about what she's learned from me about strength training. And it's amazing the way that the two, strength training and yoga can interplay and intertwine, and we can learn from each of the other disciplines, about flexibility, but also about strength. And they're very synergistic. And even if you are not a yogi, you can still benefit a lot from the types of things that we offer in the book.
Yeah, I truly believe that even if you're not a yogi, this book will really help you out.
Yeah,
Test
anybody
yourself.
and for the free ebook, the Yogi's Guide to the Pull-Up, Push-Up, and Handstand, if anybody who is interested in developing those movements, that progression would be appropriate for them. It just so happens that a lot of yogis are interested or learning about pull-ups now and developing an interest in doing them. So, and Jenny's a yoga teacher, so that was the audience that we, directed it most towards.
Yeah, it's such a great. I love the product. So
thank you. I appreciate you, the kind words, and I'm so happy that you've gotten as much out of it as you have.
Yeah, honestly, I have. So yeah, we're really happy I was able to get one. That actually, I don't want to take up more of your time, Travis. It was amazing. Thank you for being such an inspirational person. I hope everyone can catch the Movement Revolution podcast with